Hey everyone, it's Molly the Kush RN, your host of Conversations with Kush podcast, and we are checking in day 2 of NECANN, Minneapolis. Incredible content lineup yesterday, even better today. I am blessed to be sitting down once again with the incredibly dynamic and tenacious Ms. Angela Dawson from 40 Acre Co-op. So welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's
Yes.
so exciting to be here, and also just to see the evolution of your work here.
Thank
and,
you.
Spreading the word and getting communication and helping to elevate our
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, I need these stories to come through because they're really important. They're important not just for you to be able to be witnessed, but for other people to glean, the information that you have and carry that forward. So thank you for your intentional work in that way. So yeah. Let's let my audience get to know you a little better. If they don't already, they should. But if they don't, tell me a little bit about who you are and how you came into cannabis.
Well, the story is, always interesting for me to share because I never know which side of it to bring up. When I did a conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago, and they want to know what is my first encounter with cannabis story, and I didn't understand how fun and cool that story was.
Let's hear it.
So basically, my initial contact with cannabis was as a 8, 9, maybe 10-year-old girl watching my brothers and cousins. So in my family, cousins are brothers.
Yes.
And I was fostered by my aunt.
Okay.
So I was surrounded by tons and tons of cousins. Actually, even better than that, I was fostered by a collective of aunts.
Okay.
And one of the aunts that fostered me is a very powerful woman who took me under her wing and made sure, and she took responsibility for me until I graduated from high school.
Beautiful.
And had such an impact on my life. During the time that she fostered me, she also fostered the artist known as Prince. Okay. So at the same time that I was, supposed to feel tossed aside, one of the only kids that didn't have a parent, I also had the experience of bringing Prince into our family, who also his parents were going through the same thing that my parents were going through.
Sure.
Basically, they were too wrapped up in their own stuff to be able to really properly care for me. And so we ended up being fostered by the same powerful woman. It happened to be my great aunt.
So already coming from a place where community building was essential, so I can see this going down the road. Yes, thank you.
And she was the powerful community advocate that she took me to the board meetings that she went to. She is the person who I credit with being the first kind of youth mentor advocate person.
Love it.
She is the person that youth development curriculum is built around because she was advocating for young people, for us to have spaces, for us to have freedom, autonomy, and respect back when kids were seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And she saw us as human beings.
I think this is something sadly that's missing. This type of leadership is sadly missing in the generations that are coming forward now, and we really need to get back to developing and working on that a little bit better.
I can't even really talk about where I am today as a leader, as a woman with, who speaks truth to power and deals with the stuff and still mothers and still does community work and still is really concerned about the direction of young people without mentioning Bernadette Anderson, because she's just that powerful of a woman. And
love it.
But I was at her sister's house, who had my other cousins, and these young men would get together, and I would just be a fly on the wall, and they would be lifting weights, and they would be sharing their day with each other. And then eventually the whiff of this amazing smell would come through, and I would hear laughter and music, and then that's also where I learned the latest songs. So we always had this theme of the music, the laughter, and the cannabis, and that's always what it meant to me.
I'm just getting goosebumps from that nostalgia. I can just, you set the scene so wonderfully. I love that.
It was amazing for me too. I mean, honestly, I look at a lot of my friends who I grew up in that era with, and sometimes in that era, I like to say that was kind of like the era where, maybe drugs and other stuff came upon our parents, and a lot of our parents just kind of missed the mark during that time. And so, if we didn't have that safety net of a collective of aunt or a foster person, guardian, to come in. Like, I'm looking at some of those same peers now, like, they didn't come through so well.
Right.
And
well,
yeah.
Let's dial it back even though, because you talk about how the men were enjoying the cannabis and like they're having a good time. Like, how wholesome is that?
Yes.
And why are there stigmas applied to the way that people use cannabis and like get into community with cannabis? Like that shit needs to go away.
There was never any violence.
Right.
I never heard, there was no fighting.
Yeah.
There was no arguing.
Exactly.
It was, and honestly, like what the part that I really liked about, because I'm always been a little nosy, so my ear was literally up against the door, and I'd be hearing their stories, and sometimes they would be talking about like instances where they had like a run-in with a racist cop, and they would be sharing with each other and kind of supporting
processing
each
trauma.
other. They were processing trauma.
Yes.
There you go. Yes.
Yes.
And then I would hear, after I would smell the smell of the whiff, and then it would kind of levitate a little bit. The conversations would get a little lighter, and they'd still be lifting weights and helping spotting each other
exactly
on the weight bench. And so
beautiful.
that was just like an amazing experience just for me. So I had never really like the whole prohibition, devil's lettuce, dirty, makes you do dirty, nasty things. That had never been my experience.
Sure.
I don't know where that came from. And I still feel like, that propaganda job that was done.
Mind fuck. Yeah.
That's all you could call
for the masses, right? Like, wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that is not what it had. That was not my experience at all. But so kind of from that experience, though, just kind of getting that levity. I ended up like 10 years later having my own cannabis experience, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And just like with another older girl in high school, and we were out hanging out in California. Had my first cannabis experience, and one of the things that I I don't remember a whole lot about that night, but during that time I was a track student. I ran track.
Okay.
And I remember that during that cannabis experience, I raced everybody.
Okay. You were feeling on top of the world, and like, I can beat pretty much anybody at this point. I love it. Yeah, I love that.
But yeah, full circle today, it's like a whole nother experience. I still bring that kind of foundation of like wanting to protect those young men that were trauma bonding around cannabis at the time. Now they're way older. Some of them aren't even here anymore, but like they have always loved and protected me.
Right.
And I want to create a space for them so that they're not at risk of going to jail, because I mean, it's by the grace of God that none of them happened to go to jail. They've had run-ins.
Right.
They've had issues where they, were accosted because of cannabis.
Right.
But to be able, for me, like, it means more to me than just to be opening up a weed business and selling weed. Like, this is really about the culture, the community.
It's personal.
Protecting
it's
my
personal.
family. Yeah.
Yes, I see that. Yeah. Let's fast forward to more community building. You started growing vegetables in North Minneapolis and teaching people how to grow their own food.
Yes.
So talk a little bit more about that, and healing your daughter. I remember the story about how you grew mullein leaf for her when she had problems with her asthma.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was another personal story. Like, the personal is so political. We are seeing that even now, more so today, how personal things are, like our rights and our ability to vote, our ability to have autonomy over our own bodies at this point.
There's a war of attrition on every single one of those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I would really love to bring that energy back, because there was a time I really feel like in the last 20, maybe 15 years, when I really started to be more intentional about what I grew, what I ate, and why.
Sure.
Which started because of my daughter had a severe form of asthma, and we lived in North Minneapolis, and she couldn't breathe, and there was no healthy food resources in the area, not even really good clinics.
You're next to
in the
that
area.
Power plant thing.
Next to the trash burner. Yeah, just polluting the community. There was she couldn't breathe. Like, that was a hard line for me.
Right. As it should be.
And in some cases, like because I do have a background of being in the community, people thought that was I abandoning the community? And even my daughters talk about that today. Like people talk about you got moved out to the suburbs, and so you don't have the same kind of understanding or experience. And
Pasha.
it was
we all have to make our decisions that are right for us and for our families. Like, let's come on now.
Right, and let's like not compare misery,
right?
Because the misery was the misery was the misery.
Exactly.
We were still navigating in spaces that we didn't necessarily feel welcomed in, and we also had to deal with issues of income inequality, not having access to the right kind of jobs, and really dealing with the everyday life that a lot of women of color, single moms have to deal with. And so I mean, the spirit of my aunt has always been one of the things that have fueled me. She was a single mom of 6 when she took me in.
Wow.
And when she took Prince in.
Big heart.
Single mom of 6 already.
Right.
And so not only did she take me and Prince in, she also had grandchildren. So I have this thing in our community where I started in our family. We get a little jealous because she was so giving to so many other kids in the community. They call her Aunt Bernie. So I always say, no, look, she's my real aunt. Because she was the community's aunt.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there are some things that I would love to do to be able to honor her and the work that I'm doing now. Because in a lot of ways, the work
name
that
a strain after her.
You know what?
Hey. Okay.
There you go. Naming a strain after her because she did it all.
Yes.
It's going to be one of those strains where...
And like the mother plant that takes care of everyone. Oh, man. Yes.
Yeah. Now you're giving me some thoughts about that.
Okay, good.
Yeah. But so, I mean, like, food is so fundamental to everything that we do today. And also, it just came to dawn on me that we don't have enough of the nurturing women involved in agriculture,
sure.
Right? And I think that kind of has a lot to do with how we're in such a shit show today.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
well, and I've heard you talk about like all of the labor that we do that's unpaid. We take care of everyone. We put everyone first before ourselves, whether it be our family, our friends, our parents, our spouse, or, our partner, whatever. We do all this work in service of others that we just don't get a lot of credit for.
Yeah.
And it takes a toll.
Yeah.
It takes a toll.
And you know what? And that's another thing that I really think that we need to end, because as much as I love and appreciate my aunt for being that I'm every woman type of woman,
right.
Like, I very much started the 40 Acre Co-op with the goal of making sure that not only myself, but especially farmers everywhere kind of really stood their ground about compensation.
Yes.
Because just like, not too different than all other caregivers. I mean, farmers are land caregivers.
Right.
And caregivers get overlooked all the time for compensation.
Sure,
and
they do.
Really not being recognized for the energy that they're expending and the value that they're adding to other people's lives or quality of life. Same thing with farmers, and black farmers in particular, because, I like to say that black farmers are really like the only reason why we have a semblance of some agriculture left in this country now, and not every lake is not contaminated, every watershed is not contaminated, and every piece of land is not no longer growable, is because we've had small family farmers and black farmers who are holding the line with regenerative agricultural practices.
Exactly.
And really like fighting off with everything that they have to keep their land in a regenerative state, because, I mean, that's really the entire profit model of agriculture today.
Exactly.
And the contributions of the USDA are completely about not commoditizing the land so that it probably is not going to be usable within the next generation.
Right. Sadly. They want to turn it into data center dumps, right? Where they're like siphoning the water to cool off their machines to generate AI.
Right.
Like that's a whole different way of farming. It's like so scary.
Well,
so scary.
And not only that, because then where's the food going to come from?
Exactly.
It's going to come from the labs.
Exactly.
It's going to be genetically modified.
Exactly.
It's going to be robot food.
Right.
And that is one of the biggest concerns that I have, and how I'm kind of integrating that in the cannabis space is, I've always been about regenerative and organic agriculture.
Yes.
I've had
such land stewardship. Thank you.
Land stewardship and chickens and goats and pigs and vegetables and herbs, and all of those things will always be a part of my growing life and my growing plan. And I was able to, even though I'm transitioning a little bit out of the 40 acre work, mostly because, it is really difficult work. And to your point, I worked on the co-op, and I am so happy that I was able to inspire and support and help navigate and guide dozens and dozens of farmers into creating their own sustainable farm businesses. But it also was just like, it's really difficult work. Co-op work is, even though Minnesota is a leader in co-ops in the state, it is really difficult to be a black co-op, honestly, because co-ops are based on the financial basis of their members.
Okay.
And black farmers in particular don't have a lot of finances to start out with.
Sure.
So it's difficult to scale in a way that would allow folks.
And I would think, and let me just project a little bit, because I don't know this landscape, but it must feel demoralizing when you don't have the funds and you don't feel supported by larger groups to just kind of ease back and start doing your own thing again, But that community aspect, it's by design that they don't want us working in communities.
Right.
We are powerful when we're together with a group, So, and that's across the board, whether it's land stewardship or it's, a collectives in business or, whatever they may be. But yeah, they want us working in silos.
Definitely, and I think the most demoralizing experience I had, I love everything about working with farmers and working with the land, of course, is always just personally regenerating for me. Mm-hmm. But without having support from the USDA, it leaves us vulnerable to predators, predatory lenders, predatory actors. And with the excitement of me growing the co-op, in a little vulnerability, I trusted people that I shouldn't have.
Sure.
People who said that they cared about black farmers came to me and said that they wanted to help us out, and they ended up, tying me up in trick bags and creating fake documents and having me sign things that I didn't think that they would trick me like that.
Sure.
I didn't think.
I'm sorry that was done to you.
And it's that was enough for me to say, I'm going to put a pause on the work, although I still keep the hotline open for farmers. I still get calls in every month from people, and I love to still be able to connect people with resources.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, what's really interesting to me is that cooperatives, which 40 Acre Co-op is an actual co-op, they're not allowed to own cannabis businesses.
Oh.
Yeah, in Chapter 342. So we actually can't operate in the cannabis space as a co-op any longer.
Okay, well, there's a point of policy that we can maybe move in a different direction.
That's something that we definitely need to talk about, because I never really got a good explanation of why co-ops are perhaps, again, someone maybe I heard in another state used the co-op model to take advantage of people and ended up creating a predatory structure.
Sure.
And maybe, but that's something, we're smart in Minnesota.
Yeah, we are.
We can figure that stuff out.
We are going to suss out the bad actors pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing we have going for us. Well, I want to encourage the audience or whoever may be seeing this, pick up the reins. Come and get into community and pick up the reins and carry this mission forward. Like, this is a beautiful mission that's needed. And, for black and brown people to go through the sordid history that they've had with this country from the very beginning, from slavery to sharecropping to, as you said, getting into deals with predatory folks and whatnot. This is a huge mission that needs to be carried forward.
Yeah,
so
the work definitely is not over, right? Like there's so many things, especially, and to your point, we know now how powerful this kind of work is and how powerful it is what we're doing by the extreme attacks on this work.
Exactly. They want us in silos.
I mean, and the attacks are, and the resources that people are using to attack us. Every time I think that we are, kind of at the apex of
what else could they do?
Right.
Yeah. What else can they do?
Yeah.
They top it.
They can top it. They top it.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the business a little bit now. So where do we go from here?
Well, where we're going from here is we're going to always constantly build. We're going to keep building.
Yeah.
We're going to always be resilient.
Yes.
We're going to use the power that we have, the foundations that we have from women like Aunt Bernie, from women who get together and figure out how to build up from there.
Right.
And, I am building a supply chain. I am starting my own farm.
Excellent.
Again. And so we will, we're going to have more about it later. I'm really kind of laying low on social media and stuff for now because I really want my next introduction, like, I can say it on here. I'm going to pop my shit.
Okay.
I'm going to pop my shit
As
next
you
time.
should. And this is what I'm here for. Yeah, I'm ready to see it, really. And I think, to be fair, I think it's important to protect your energy as you're building some things because people can speak life into you.
Yes.
And they can also, speak the negatives, things that you don't need that energy,
Yeah,
so,
and social media is so weird.
It is.
But so I'm working 3 jobs because I don't want to have to deal with investors again. I don't want to deal with scammers. I don't want to deal with people who say one thing and do another thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing as much as I can on my own, and I am relying on, but there are people in our community who I consider, like you, like part of our tribe, part of our community. They hold our vibe. They know what we need. They know the words that we need to hear when we need a little push.
Exactly.
And I really have relied on all of y'all just to kind of get me through this. But for now, I am just kind of full-time working. I have a real estate practice as well, so I'm learning more about how land, because I'm so concerned about the land.
For sure.
I went ahead and made the investment, went to real estate school, passed the exams because I want to know how I can help people also be stable on the land in a more strategic way, because there's a way that it looks like in the public, like what media kind of shows, the salesy real estate.
Right.
And then there is the transactions that make a difference.
The applicable part. Yeah.
And they can make or break a legacy.
Sure.
They can make or break generational wealth. They can make or break access to a cannabis business.
Right. Well, I love that. That's how incredible. You see a problem and you're like, how can I fix this and how can I take it on myself so that I know that it's going to be done right?
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Yeah.
What can't you do, my girl? What?
You know what? I with the love of y'all and y'all supporting my community, I feel like we can do anything.
Yeah. We have built a pretty good a network here of ladies, I think, that support each other, in their ways.
We got the quirky ones.
Yeah.
That we got to kind of, put in time out sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we are building a great community of solid women. I love what Minnesota women in cannabis are doing right now, and I'm sure that we're putting Minnesota on the map.
We are, and our voices will not be silenced all the way up to the Capitol. People are down there. I've seen you testify several times, on your behalf and on the behalf of other people. We will not be silenced in this area, and policy work is really how we're going to move things for us and make it better for us. So please continue to just keep that fight up. And how can we support you?
Well, I think right now it's going to be really important for us to continue to stay informed about what's going on.
Sure.
I am going to share a lot more about my journey on Substack. Right now is kind of where I'm keeping my communication.
Sure.
You can always reach out to me at I actually have a website. It's angelanowsmn.com.
Love this.
So you can reach out to me at angelanowsmn.com. My email is hi@angelanowsmn.com.
Awesome.
And there's all kinds of things going on. I can let you know about when the businesses are launching, when we're always doing some community work. I'm always going to be able to invite you if you want to figure out how to make an impact in community, what we can do to help our neighbors stay away, stay out of jail, stay safe. Might be feeding people this summer, depending on how the economy goes. If you want to get access to local farm fresh food, I'll be connecting folks with that too. So
you need a newsletter. You need a newsletter.
Sign up at hi@angelanowsmn.com, and I'm gonna set that up.
Okay, perfect. I love that. Girl. It's next on the docket, people. So stay tuned for that. More
and
to come.
I'll always be in touch with you.
I love this. I feel like, just getting to know you over the last year too, it's been really incredible. I love standing next to women that are powerful. It always helps me feel and know that we can do great things, and sometimes we just need that little extra confidence of like looking at a woman and seeing her shine and be like, hell yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
thank
that's where I want to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're
thank
amazing,
you.
and I'm so glad that we're getting to know each other better, as the years go on. So, it's been awesome.
Thank you so much, Molly.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
All right.
Okay, that's day 2 of NECANN, people. Stay tuned for all this incredible content. Peace.